training. So we're excited to have you. We'll certainly give it a few moments. Do some housekeeping here.
I bet Jill loves when he's doing housekeeping. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some water.
Housekeeping meant that Jill was locked under quarantine with my dog, with my daughter. Again, welcome everybody. Good morning. We hope this finds you well, happy, safe, inspired. It's good energy only day. It's good to see everyone. Obviously a big week. I just hung up with Mr. Bernasso. $40,000 richer today than he was yesterday. $100,000 better off than he was this month than he was last month. He's happy. You know what's really cool about that too, as we're waiting, you know, is the love that he's gotten from that. And Maria and Anaí, you know, when people come up to you and are so proud and happy for you, you know, I know what Mr. Contreras and his team is experiencing right now, the love, the respect, the admiration. I was telling Jonathan a story of the first time I went to a convention of my company where there were 20,000 people and someone came up to me and asked me for my autograph. And I was with my wife. And Jill was like, really? Have you ever cleaned up after him? You know, have you seen him in the morning? It's a great phenomenon when, and that can be on any scale. You know, when you make your first sale and your kid gives you a high five, or your wife gives you a hug. And then all the way up to when your team starts to give you admiration. And then when the world recognizes what you're doing.
Hey, Bobby.
I knew she'd get it, a line in.
Walking on the coast, Melissa.
Melissa will always say hi. She will always make her presence felt. That's what the great ones do.
Mr. Contreras.
Oh, how you doing?
I had to actually walk away from the ocean. I couldn't get a strong enough internet signal. So.
You know what my response would be to that, but there's guests on here, so.
That I'm killing you?
Yeah. No, it actually was going to be a little stronger than that, but I love you. I have to drive a couple hours to do that. There was an article today trending. I sent it to Jim about tens of thousands of bird migrations are dropping from the skies unceremoniously around in the United States. Again, a product of this shift in climate, the fires and everything else. And, you know, we track this news as part of being a public benefit corporation, a green company, but you hate to wake up to these headlines every day. But there's a lot of good news. Mr. Contreras is in a mansion in California. That's the good news. We welcome everybody on. We welcome our guests on. We tend to have a little fun, so be prepared. We'll start in just a few minutes. The first portion of today's event will be to our guests. It'll be our presentation of the Power brand. And then we're going to join world famous Mr. Jim Bunch for a training on how to uplift and raise your personal and professional game. If every member of your team is not on that, then you're missing the boat. So, not just the ones in the mansion. Colby, I know you got all your people on.
Looks like we know we've got a good backup plan for recording, Mr. Bunch. There's three recordings going simultaneously. We know ourselves.
Did you get Charles? Did you end up getting hardwired in yet?
No, not yet. That's why I've got it backed up just in case. That'll happen as soon as I have a day to pick up the cords.
Perfect.
And
I
again,
want to say good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you, Alan Biles from Naples, Florida. We're all gathering together at Oscar Vasquez home. Just traffic and everything this afternoon, but
Awesome.
excited to be here. Thank you.
a lot of gatherings. You know what I have to
Yep.
say about these morning sessions? Coming here without a guest is like going to the prom without a date. It's embarrassing. My guests are on. Welcome to you. I appreciate you being on. There's only one way to lead. Good morning. Buenos dias. We'll give it just a few moments till Charles's blood pressure reaches a certain point. That's when we start. He'll let us know. Watch the color in his face change. He'll go to a light shade of red, then a little bit more significant. And
Not today, Bobby.
you like how I tracked down Michael?
Luke Charles.
Was that cool,
Charles.
Charles?
Yeah,
You
Mr.
You can
Contreras.
see?
I see the view. Yes. Beautiful.
It's very cool to watch our teams moving around the country, renting mansions.
Yep.
It's pretty dope. So
I'm gonna go
Charles, you want to give it? Let's give it a couple more minutes.
I'm going to get the mute features going. Prevent.
My wife wants to know if she can get that from you.
Yeah, one thing might be cool, guys, is to leave the chat open because when I kick off the piece I'm going to do, I want to interact with everybody. So
Absolutely.
let's
So
leave it-
what I'll do, Jim, is I'll just disable it for the front end, and as soon as we're done with the front end, we'll re-enable that.
Welcome to everyone again. We'll be starting in just a few minutes with our showcase portion of today, which will be showcasing the power opportunity, what we're doing, our mission, our values. And then we will go right into training with Mr. Jim Bunch. And then we'll wrap up with some updates and talk to you about our next major event, Monday night. All right. We've broken the century mark. I'm cool.
All right, so Bobby and Jim, you should be able to mute and unmute yourself as co-hosts. Just confirm that if you can.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you're ready, Charles.
All right, sir. You can do your 3, 2, 1 and rock and roll, Mr. Smith. Good to go.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Buenos dias. My name is Bobby Smith. I'm a field president with Power. We are excited to have you here today. I'm excited to be here today. You know, this is a very special day for us. This portion of our day is directed to the guests, you, that are looking at Power, trying to make a decision, want to know if you want to make a move, a career shift, you know, raise your game. And I'll just a couple notes here out of our traditional presentation. This comes to you on a very special week. You know, we had an event Thursday night where we gave away over $100,000 just in prizes, a brand new Tesla. And the gentleman who won the Tesla is a gentleman who was making a six or multiple six-figure income with a major solar company. I met him on LinkedIn. He came over to Power, and now he's matching what he was making in a year, essentially in a month in Power, and having the time of his life. So we're attracting the top solar professionals in the world to our company. And if you looked at the other winners, $10,000 in cash and another cool prize, extraordinary women, you know, representing the Hispanic community and an extraordinary team in our company that is mostly in the Hispanic community. That diversity, the women leaders, the Hispanic leaders in our company, all cultures, is something as a public benefit corporation that we are, you know, very proud of. And that's what we're fighting for. You know, we were talking earlier today, we're fighting through a change here, a challenge in the world today. And it's becoming more prominent every single day from obviously the COVID that we're experiencing, the forest fires, the birds dropping from the sky, this channel of smoke that's now moved its way to the East Coast, the devastating events that are happening in the Gulf, you know, flood and hurricane events that are happening. And we know why this is happening. And now we have a chance to do something about it. We're also inspired by the fact that we have a chance to provide an opportunity for the 20+ million people that need a different course in their life, that they have to shift because their industry is gone. or their industry has shifted, or what's happening to the rest of the world, which we'll talk about today, their industry has shifted online. And the world is shifting to a cooler culture, a different culture, a work from home culture. And where the world returns to when COVID calms down, we don't know yet, but we do know that we are in the right place at the right time. So we invite all of our guests today. We celebrate you being here. After I finish and Charles Thompson finishes the first portion, we're going to bring on world-renowned trainer, life coach, Mr. Jim Bunch. So it's going to be a heck of a morning. Stick with us and have some fun. So let's talk to you a little bit about our company. We're going to talk about who we are and our model, our game-changing model, and why you should join our company. That's what the first portion of this is about, to make a decision, to join our company. Have some fun. Raise the game. And again, as you look at who we are, every great company, starts with a great leader. And Jonathan Budd, many of you know, is an internet legend, made a fortune in his 20s, went to the rainforest with Jim Bunch, who you'll meet, had a vision, both of them, for a cleaner, better future, what we could do for our children and our grandchildren. And both of them put up a lot of money to start this company. And again, we're inspired by their leadership and Jonathan's leadership every day. Then we put together a team. Andrea Budd, who we lost, who looks at us from above. We just added Dean Rosenberg to the last company, just sold for millions of dollars. And whether it's our COOs, our heads of procurement, design, software, accounting, finance, marketing, we put together a Googleable management team that is just a pleasure to work with. And I'm honored to be a part of that team as field president of Power. If you dig deeper into our model and look at how we got here, there's no debate about power. I always say, look at the donut, don't look for the hole. There's nothing to look for. We started out working with the largest solar company in the world. We were vetted by SolarCity and Tesla. And then we realized we couldn't grow with them. So we signed contracts with 100 of the top solar companies in the United States. So we were vetted by over 100 of the top solar companies in the United States, and they wanted to be a part of what we're doing. We went online to raise some money and raised more money privately in a private crowd fund than any company at that time in the history of the world. 1.4 million in just a few weeks. Our family grew to over 5,000 paid subscribers, and we continued to build our game-changing model. What changed the game completely was in the first quarter of last year, when we put together the only truly transparent, we'll show you the cost of goods model, where we'll share the revenue on a 70-30 split with you and give you stock options, which means, in essence, part-time, full-time, never knowing anything about solar, you can make more money with our company and stock than any solar company in the world. In fact, you'll make more money than most people that own a solar company. Many of them have transitioned to our company as well. Last month alone, we brought over 630 solar professionals, sales professionals, entrepreneurs who paid to be a part of this game-changing platform. If you look at what really we are most proud of, it is our values, the core values of our company, what we stand for, who we are. As a public benefit corporation, we serve our community. We serve each other. We serve a better world, and we get shit done. We meet every single day to determine how we can be better as a corporate team, as a family, than we were the day before. We hear you. We listen to our representatives. We have an open Facebook page with thousands of people on there that can express the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's 99% good. We're having a blast. The biggest challenge that we have is handling the phenomenal growth that we're experiencing, and that is a great problem to have. Our core value is to offset the emissions, any emissions that we contribute to the world through the manufacturing, delivering, placing of solar panels. We offset through our emissions program. And again, we need to stand for something. That is who we are. That is what we are about. So you can be proud when you wake up every single day that you're part of the solution and not part of the problem. Basically, the father of renewable energy stated that if you want to change things, don't fight the existing reality. Build a new model, change it. Build something that makes the old model obsolete. And that's what we've done. We've made the traditional solar company, the job, selling solar, obsolete, with a much cooler, much hipper, much more transparent model. As you dig deeper into that model, we know that we must serve the homeowner. That's the key. You got to get great reviews. They've got to get a great experience. They've got to, dig the process. But in addition to that, the most important person is you. If you're putting your time and your efforts into selling solar, you should be rewarded like a rock star. And that's what we do. In the old model of solar, you get a job. You're trading your time for dollars. Maybe you cut a deal because you sold a few jobs. The commissions are smaller. There's little or no support. There's nothing passive or residual about it. Again, you're exchanging your life for dollars. There's no equity. There's no ownership. And most people do it because they want to get leads. We'll talk about that. And there's nothing scalable about it. Here you sell for yourself. You're basically owning your own solar company. Work when, where, with whom you want. We're going to pay you more than anybody in the world. We're going to train in multiple languages every single day. You can build a passive income. We have people here that are scaling to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in passive income, whether they're working or not. You're owning your own solar company, and everything we do as a tech company, a company that was spending up to $100,000 a month on building cutting edge technology, everything we do must be scalable. That's what the world looks like today, and that's what the future of solar looks like. Here's my favorite part. I always say draw a circle around your life. Let's just keep it simple. You're communicating on a platform, a solar, cellular platform. You're communicating through Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. That's how the world communicates. If you want to hop a ride, you're not calling a taxi anymore. It's Uber, right? It's Lyft. We're using EXP for realty. Jim can talk about the real estate industry and how he helped change that industry forever as that went virtual. Costco is a buyer's club. You pay a portion of that club to be able to benefit from the wholesale pricing that's the buying for the masses. And if you look further than that, I just got a package at my doorstep this morning for my daughter, a brand new pair of shoes, go figure. Everything in the world we're buying is from Amazon. So simple, draw a circle around your life. If communication, transportation, travel, retail, food have all gone to an online platform, then how could any logical thinking person, entrepreneur, believe that the same thing will not happen with solar? And even bigger, if you connect the dots, if in fact renewable energy is the greatest and perhaps the most important shift in the history of man and womankind, and an online platform is the solution for renewable energy, and our company Power is the only and certainly the leader in an online platform for solar and renewable energy, where does that place your opportunity to be a part of this great company? And if you're wondering about our company, every other week we feature the leading companies in the world in our Zooms, whether it's a $200 billion tech leader, LG, or LoanPal, or Sunlight, or Titan, or Enphase. These are the biggest companies, most respected companies in the United States and the world in solar. They're on our Zooms every other week talking about how Power is in fact the fastest growing solar company in the United States, having tripled since the pandemic hit. The pandemic, while it's devastating most solar companies, most traditional companies, because they have to think about brick and mortar and operations and buildings and this and that and their employees, we are a platform. We were built for this. Good, bad, or indifferent, Power was built for the world we live in today, one challenged by COVID, one challenged by travel and transportation and where and how we interact with each other. We have been teaching people how to build an online business now for almost 5 years. And that's why we are positioned to be the world leader, having just hit the top portion of the Inc. 5000 list. We are confident we will rise to the top of the Inc. 500 list in the coming months and years. And we look forward to that list coming out next year. With that, again, I come from entrepreneurship, folks. I come from medical industry. I started and built a national nonprofit cancer foundation for 10 years. I've learned my way in solar, but I know more about people, and I try and bring that to the party. Charles Thompson is an energy professional, has spent 20 years in this industry, has spent 10 years building, developing, running, owning for the biggest and best solar and energy companies in the United States. He's a military guy. He understands discipline and what it takes to win. I know him as a dad. I know him as a great friend. I'm on the corporate side. Charles is 100% on commission in the field. He has built a lifestyle building this company in Texas with thousands of representatives, deciding to move to the West Coast and hanging out with Mr. Bunch out there. You can see the background. That is not a screensaver. That is his background. That is his backyard, the Pacific Ocean, living the life that most people dream of. Just like Edgardo and William and their team are doing right now. Melissa's doing right now. Mr. Bernasso's doing right now. Luigi's doing right. Just like all these amazing people are doing right now. They're living life on their terms. They get to wake up every single day doing what they love, when they want to do it, and with whom they want to do it with. And that is a gift. Charles Thompson represents the very best. And again, I know him now as a dear friend, working together over the last, I don't know how many years now, I can't keep track. So to walk you through the back part of this company, what we do, I give you a field leader and my dear friend, Mr. Charles Thompson. Charles, you have the ball.
Thank you, my friend Bobby. It's been an amazing 6 years is what we're
Oh
approaching.
my God.
And the mentorship you provided me, the friendship is words can't even express how much I appreciate you. So thank you. If you look at this industry, you've got to put some context to this. The industry is just beginning to hit the acceleration. There's 130 million single family residences plugged into the grid. 90 million of those are currently eligible for zero down solar. And is somewhere between 2.5 and 3 million homes now have made that conversion. And we're seeing that hockey stick growth that's starting to take place. So if you want to get into an industry and into a market with a company who's leading the way, the timing couldn't be any better. And what's driving it is zero down solar, where a homeowner can see immediate savings on their electric bill, anywhere from 5 to 40%. It raises the value of their home, typically between 4 and 6%, 20 to $25,000 on average additional value in the home. The homeowner gets to lock in that energy cost. So what they're paying now, they'll never have to worry about the rising rates of fossil fuels as we know it today. And in some markets that more than doubles every 10 years or even more so. And then the homeowner gets to own that energy. So now this is an asset that goes on the roof that produces power, it produces cash basically for the home. And there's zero out-of-pocket cost for the homeowner. Now with that framework, look at it from a consultant perspective. And Power has developed a model that has new terms, and I don't want you to get confused by the terms kilowatts and those types of things. I'll show you dollars. That will make sense to everyone. In the market where Power is a general contractor, that's numerous markets currently, we have access to the lowest cost of goods. Look at that as a wholesale number. So you get access to the wholesale cost of goods. You then sell the solar at retail, and then there's a rev share split. So if we break down a typical 10 kW system, that's 10,000 watts. The selling price in this particular example is $35,000. There were some adders, financing, main panel upgrade, whatever those were. But the net revenue is $10,500. And if you work for a traditional company in the solar industry, 70% of that or more stays in the company. But with Power, we, the seller, gets 70% of that net revenue. Power keeps 30%, and then they take half of that 30% and they give it back to you, to us, to be able to basically pay us to mentor and train new consultants. Half of their revenue comes back to us. So it doesn't come out of your 70%. But if you look at the typical commission, this is an average commission across the platform of over $7,000. And a typical commission in this industry is somewhere normally about $2,000 to $3,000. So you're looking at least double to potentially triple what a traditional solar company pays. From that, what do you get to offer? I'll call this our out-of-the-box warranty for the homeowners, a 25-year power output guarantee, up to 25 years on the inverter. That's what converts the energy to what they use in the home, a 10-year workmanship warranty, and a 5-year roof penetration warranty. That's kind of the gold standard in the industry as it's known today. But Power, leveraging the platform, the volume, has now partnered with Solar Insure, and we offer the homeowner the ability to upgrade to a complete bumper-to-bumper 30-year worry-free warranty. Parts, labor, everything that's involved in the workmanship, and that's for a small additional cost. In most markets, you just add it and then just show against the competition that we have the best warranty on the planet. So I mentioned that Power keeps half of the 30%, and they give the other half back to us to be able to sell and train consultants. In that model, they have what I'll compare to Keller Williams, EXP, Aflac, Prudential. What they've done is they empower agents to either sell real estate or sell insurance. And then they also empower them to be able to enroll other people to do the same, to train and coach those people. Power has taken that model, and they allow each of us to enroll people at the front line of our organization. We get 20% of the revenue that Power takes in. So of their 30%, you get 20% of Power's revenue for anyone you directly enroll into Power. Some of the people you enroll will do the same type of thing. And that's where you get leverage revenue share down to 6 tiers or levels. And I'll walk you through the economics of that. So this is, again, not coming out of your revenue, it's coming out of Power's revenue. And if you look at this from a sixth level, on average, on your front line, you're going to receive an override of about $550. And when they enroll someone, you're going to receive an override of approximately $275 on average, and so on. It goes down 6 tiers. Dynamic compensation plan at the best of anything that I've ever seen in this industry, and where people now are seeing true passive income that is better than most people make working 40 to 60 hours a week. And we all still get to do things like sell, which is what we do. We do 2 things. We sell solar, and then we help train and coach others to do the same thing. And one of the best ways to do that is through our mentorship program. The mentorship programs allows for anyone who comes into the company to tap into what we call closers, for lack of better words, trained professionals who know how to use the platform, and they help you close your first either 1 to 3 contracts, depending upon where you are. If you're a solar professional, your first contract will be with a mentor. So you learn how to leverage the platform. And this also becomes a career pathway as you move through the process in the 3 stages that will work with you in our Solar Academy. The commission split is better than the normal commission would be if you were working for a solar company. But if you would look at a typical traditional solar company, when you go there, your first 3, 4, 5 sales is going to be with a manager or a trainer. And generally, you don't get compensated on those. You get a referral of $150 or $250 stipend. Power's revenue share plan is so powerful that they split that 50-50. I look at it as paid training for anyone new who comes into the platform. And I've worked with people on the first 5 to 10 contracts. We require 3 if you're new to solar, or 1 if you are a solar professional. And the mentorship program ultimately becomes a really great way to enroll people, help them, coach them, and share in the benefits while they're getting trained. The icing on the cake is the Power ownership plan, where on your first installation, you're going to get 50 stock options. When you enroll someone into the platform, you'll get 25 stock options for them, and they'll get 50 for their personal install. And then there's a basic performance goal of 25 installs in the calendar year. You get 500 options, 50 in the calendar year. That's 1 a week with a 2-week vacation. That's 2,500 options. And since you're part of Power, before we go public, you'll be able to purchase discounted options. What does all that mean? I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've seen some great successes out there, but I've also worked with 2 out of the 3 top solar companies in the world. One was a $17 billion company. The other was a $14 billion company. And the third, whom I didn't work with, was a $6 billion company. Collectively, total those numbers up, you're looking at about $30 billion, and not one of them was able to figure out how to control the cost of goods and scale that company and be profitable. Power comes out 7 years ago. Mr. Budd and Mr. Bunch co-found Power, co-invest into Power over a period of time, raise about $10 million, and are profitable. And now they launch a game-changing platform and hit the Inc. 1000 fastest growing companies and continue to scale. What is that going to mean to Wall Street when we go public? Hard to say, but to me, I think that's going to be generational changing wealth that I can leave a legacy for my family. And you each have the ability to do that. The training that is provided is the most incredible training that I've seen, but it's getting better and better and better under the leadership of Mr. Bunch, who you'll hear from here soon. You go through a 1.5-hour certification course. You take the test, and then there's modules that you'll see that are available to you. Everything that you need to know about how to sell, but we start you at the basics. Just get you launched into this business and put you on a path to success with 3 basic steps, which you'll learn about. The technology that we have, as Bobby indicated, that's another game changer, where we have a dynamic proposal tool. You put in a few pieces of information, you receive a link back within about 30 minutes. Initially, as a new person, you'll work with your mentor, but you'll have access to see exactly how all that's done, where you can control the design without having to have any design experience. You can request credit checks and documents in real time. You don't have to text anybody, call anybody, email anybody. Everything's done with that one link. The projects are all managed under one roof, under one organization. So if you want to sell in multiple states, we'll talk about where we have coverage. You can do that all under one roof. And Power handles all the accounting, the operations, the management of the team that's behind you. They pay us daily for any Revenue that's been generated. We'll talk about milestone payments and how that's paid out, but that's every single day, 7 days a week. And then if you're building an organization, they pay out those commissions weekly. That's your passive income. Oftentimes at the end of this presentation, people want to know how that flows. We pay out in 2 milestones. The first milestone is after the contract has been signed, and it goes to what's called site survey. That's where they go out and do the actual physical inspection and take measurements. The site survey team sends a report back to us. We put that into our lender network, and we receive the notice to proceed. We get paid 40% capped at $2,000. So you have cash flow typically within 7 to 10 business days of that transaction taking place. So you don't have a long ramp up time to get there. The balance of that commission is paid out at the end of the installation where the customer signed off and said everything's good to go. We get the balance of that commission. So you've got one of the strongest comp plans, and payouts are daily. If Power receives the money in by 5 p.m. that day, that's in your wallet that very same day. We sell currently in 16 states. We have 4 that are temporarily on hold as we become the general contractor up here in the East Coast. We are the general contractor in California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and New Jersey. And that's the mission for Power over the next 6 to 9 months, to be the general contractor in all of these markets and a few more. And then Power will go back into the growth mode. But this is really what's key. As Power as a general contractor, that drives 2 things for us. It drives faster installs, it drives higher revenue splits, because Power cuts out all of the middle profit margins that are being typically shared by the small and medium companies, and they provide you the vehicle to sell in all of these virtually or in person, depending upon how you would like to do that. So as we transition from the business portion of this, I'll wrap up in terms of how this structure works. The 70-30 revenue split, that cost of goods, wholesale versus retail. If you desire to build an organization, you can share in the revenue out of Power's 30% at up to 6 levels, and you get the equity ownership for your initial installations and your overall installations on an annual basis. This is, as Bobby said, it's a business in a box. You have the ability to own a solar sales and marketing company, and I've done that. I've had the liabilities that go along with it. I've had the responsibilities, the headaches, the lines of credit you have to do, the management responsibilities, having to have employees and insurance and all of that. All of that's available to me now with for a one-time onboarding fee of $99. And we all, since we get 70 to 85% of the revenue, we contribute to the technology cost. We fund the technology. And I look down the road, not even probably a year from now, we're going to have 10,000 people contributing $49 a month to that technology. It's already the most incredible platform that I've seen in this industry. Having worked for a $17 billion and a $14 billion company, our program dwarfs those. That technology is what you can rely on to continue to get better and better and better. Now, we're talking to 2 audiences today. There's those who are listening live. Stay on for Mr. Bunch. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But if you're listening to the recorded version, listen to the entire portion, then get back to whomever sent you this recording, get your questions answered, and then jump on the train. And the steps are simple. Become a consultant. We'll walk you through the 3 steps once you get enrolled. Work with a mentor. And then if you have a home that you own, go solar. No better way than to be a customer of this product and really have the game changer that be able to go out and sell that to others. So with that, I will stop my screen share and I will yield back to Mr. Smith to make the transition. Stand by. All right, Mr. Smith.
Yes. Thank you, Charles. Brilliantly done. Thank all of you for your time this morning. We appreciate that. Charles, are you going to chat room for a few questions? Is that how
I will open the chat up now. Yes.
If you are a guest today and you specifically have a question about joining the Power platform and how that could raise your personal and professional life, then you can certainly put a question in the chat bar. I often say at this juncture, a lot of the reps today or our consultants are here to certainly see Mr. Bunch's training, but we wanted to have a business presentation as we always do. Again, there's no debate, about what we're doing and how fast we're growing and the issue that we're solving. The only question, I always say it's really hard to find a spot like this. Find a company that's 5 years in, that's invested tens of millions, that has thousands of representatives that are earning record incomes, that are inspired and having a blast and traveling the world, and yet no one knows who we are. That's the sweet spot for an entrepreneur, right? The economics to invest $149, come on, it's a cable bill. It's a bad dinner. You know, I mean, you have a chance to be a part of the future of renewable energy. So if you have a couple questions, Charles, do you see anything yet?
I have opened it up publicly, so everyone feel free if you have questions. And for our guests on this round, when Mr. Bunch begins to host, it's going to be a wide open conversation, I'm sure. It's going to be fun. But if you're a guest and you have a question, feel free to type that in the chat bar. Anyone can do that, and anyone can see the answers and questions.
Yep.
So to JN technology costs, can you please elaborate? Yeah, it's a monthly licensing fee. You know, Bobby gave the example of Costco, for example. They don't make a lot of profit on their products. They make profits on their membership fees. And we are members of the platform, and we fund that platform. That's what we do as consultants. Bobby?
Yeah, you know, it's an entrepreneurial endeavor. So again, for probably half of what your cable bill might look like, you have a chance to take advantage of this economic platform that we've spent, you know, tens of millions of dollars, you know, in investing in and building for you. So again, yes, I'm sorry.
And I often say it's really, if you look at power, only keeping 15% of the revenue. As owners of power, that we all are as we get stock, we want power to be profitable. And the more they have to invest in the technology, more that could chew away at profits. We finance that. We, as consultants, finance the platform that we get the ability to use on a monthly basis.
Yeah. And folks, there's going to be changes in the solar industry. The tax credit is diminishing. It could go away. We don't know what the political climate's going to be, particularly with recent events. So our buying power, if you understand this, our buying power allows us to get pricing now and continue to get pricing and have leverage on the industry that brings our pricing down, not unlike Costco. So all of you, everyone that joins the platform gets to take advantage of, enjoy everyone else's success. One love, one team, one family. That's why everyone wins together. And most companies aren't prepared. If the tax credit goes away, 50 to 75%, in my opinion, the solar companies, particularly the small ones in the United States, are over. It won't even affect us. We'll be ready for it. Our pricing will be so low that we'll have the margins that will still allow people to give the consumer a great deal and have a lucrative compensation model for all of you. Chat bar?
Yep. So Jeffrey, thank you for a comment. 2 proposals a month pays for the licensing fee. Right. If you're working in this industry, a typical cost of a proposal is $25. So you generate 2 proposals, you cover your licensing fee. Absolutely good fact.
Yeah.
Yasser asked, what's the best marketing strategy to start with? We have training on that involved in what we do, and some of that could be online. Obviously, initially, you complete the certification. It's really step 1, complete the certification, and you'll become part of that. Then you become part of working with our mentor network. So you have that ability to get coached through the process, and then you start to build the team if you desire to. If you want that passive income. Parallel to that is the training that you'll get into. You'll unlock our Solar Academy. You get all the different training modules for marketing, but in your initial training, you'll be coached up on how to build your initial list and how to be able to get your business launched. That's a very simple part of the initial training for you.
Yeah. In a simple world, if you start with our company, you get a proposal for your own home if you're a homeowner. Outside of that, go to a handful of your best friends, neighbors, colleagues, and say, hey, would you like a free proposal for no money down solar? I mean, who says no to that? Would you like a free energy evaluation for your home? No one says no to that. Why would they? Everybody should be looking at that. Questions?
None yet. Is there any other questions? Feel free to type them in.
We'll give it another moment. And folks, the people in our company, and you'll find out in a couple minutes from Jim, are having the time of their lives. Again, they're doing something that inspires them. Most of America is uninspired. Most of them are just sleepwalking through life. They're going to a job that they really don't care about anymore. They're paying the bills. They're doing what they need to do. And God bless them. That's what America was built upon to some degree. You know, but there's a better way. You know, I've been working from home since my children were born. I got a chance to be a stay-at-home dad. My wife got a chance to be a stay-at-home dad. Our children need us more today than they have ever needed us. And now they can't even go to school. So, you know, these are extraordinary times. So I've always said, if you live in non-traditional times, right? How non-traditional are these times? Then how could traditional thinking still apply? It can't. Doesn't make any sense. Any last questions, Charles?
Well, sir, we got it. Devin, congrats.
Okay. All right. All right, so we just give them one more minute and no one else? If you are ready to join, get back in touch with the person that brought you onto this Zoom. Get your questions answered. We hope to see you be a part of the company. We'll talk about a major event that we have on Monday night. There's no boundaries. You can start your training whenever you want. So are we ready? How are we going to record this separately, Charles, or starting the recording?
We'll be able to pause it and splice it out. So we'll
Okay.
be good.
So I have the pleasure of introducing Jim Bunch. Jim came back to our company, again, helped found this company a while ago, was off changing the world in many other ways. Jim serves as the chairman of the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce. I know he's extremely, how do you describe Jim Bunch? A guy that's changed more lives than most of us could ever dream of. Being a personal and professional coach, people pay a great deal of money just to get a chance to spend some time with Jim and understand his trainings and his vision and the way he lives his own life. We've become great friends, and Jim lives a life that most people dream of, with a lovely child, a lovely wife and a beautiful child, and living on the beach. I think Charles saw him crossing the street this morning, no surfboard. His backyard is, again, the Pacific Ocean. But I know what Jim stands for. If it's not good for the world, if it's not good for humanity, if it's not good for you, he just doesn't want any part of that. That's just not who he is. So we are so thankful to have him back at Power to help us scale this company, level up our training, level up all of our personal and professional games. Many of you have come to know Jim and love him as we do. I have a chance, and Charles does, to call him a friend. So with that, we'll give you our VP of Culture and Training, Mr. Jim Bunch. Jim, you have the ball.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Charles. And I want to take a moment and thank everyone who's on. I know it's Saturday. There's a lot of things we could be doing with our time, and I value the investment we're about to make. So let's do me a favor. If you guys don't mind, and gals, let's kick on your cameras. Let's unmute for a second. And I want to engage with you as we have a conversation really about how to level up your life. How do we power up your life, and how do we power up your business? So this is the most important part, I think, of our day and of our week, is how do we take our games to the next level? So no matter where you are, maybe you're already financially free. Maybe you've got all the time in the world. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're in a tough spot in your life. No matter where you're starting, the content we want to cover today is going to help you take your game to another level. So thank you so much for kicking on the cameras there. Here's what I'd like to do. How many of you, by the way, have children right now who are in an education system of K through 12? Raise your hands. Okay. All right. Now next question. How many of you were children at once and you went through a K through 12 system? Raise your hand. Okay. So the typical learning is not what we want to do here. We want to do stuff that's untypical. We want to do stuff that breaks our patterns and breaks our molds. So those of you who were on the other night, you know that I love to bring up the energy. I love to make this fun. And I also like to stretch and challenge us to get out of our comfort zone, because my belief is there really isn't anything called a comfort zone. How many of you, by the way, have heard of this thing called the comfort zone? And you know that all good things happen outside the comfort zone. Here's the reality. I don't think most people are actually comfortable. I think most people are extremely uncomfortable, but they've become familiar with how they do life. And until you become uncomfortable and create new realities, you're going to get the same results over and over again. Right? So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to challenge ourselves. We're going to stretch ourselves, and we're going to do a new mode of learning. I have a 14-year-old who went from going to classes, right? He started high school this year, and last year they were in classes until the virus hit. But this year they're doing what we're doing. They're on Zooms nonstop, 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And I walked in the other day and my son's like, Dad, my back is really hurting me. Now he's got a good camera or a computer. It's set up right. He's got a good chair. But I said, honey, listen, you don't understand how to move your body to activate your mind to take your thinking to the next level. So I literally got him up and got him dancing. And the challenge is most people think, wow, that's weird. It's uncomfortable, but you feel better. And we want to put all of our students, we want to put us into a peak learning state. I learned this when I was working with Tony Robbins back when I was 23 years old. We were touring around the world and we were motivating tens of thousands of people every weekend to change their lives. So all those in favor of having fun, say aye, raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Good, motion carried. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. I know it might feel a little weird the first time you do it, but we're going to bring one of our friends, Mr. Pitbull, into the conversation. We're going to dance for about 3 minutes. Now, again, if this is uncomfortable, congratulations, you're about to grow. When we come back, we're going to dive into what they should have taught us in school, what it takes in order to succeed in power, and how to start reinvesting in yourself starting today so you live the life that you want, so you build a game-changing business, so you leave a legacy that you can be proud of, all right? So this is our first step forward in doing that. I want everybody to stand up. Let's have fun, get a little funky, get a little weird. And while you do this, it's important that you start thinking about the life you want to create. Get beyond your own limits, get beyond your own beliefs that think you can't do this, and start to believe that we will win. Because as Bobby said and Charles said, and you'll learn in our events, life is a team sport. So get up, let's have some fun. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna make this a full screen here so we can just rock this out. Turn your cameras up. Let's dance the whole time together. And we come back, we're gonna take your game to another level, all right? So here we go. It's game time, my friends. Let's have some fun. Dance crazy, have fun. Yeah. All right, my friends, thank you so much for playing full out, playing to win. That is what for. How many of you feel better? Say aye. Good. Awesome. All right. This isn't going to be your normal training because we want to activate your body. We want to activate your mind. And we want to activate your souls. That, my friends, is what it takes to become a true power warrior. So how many of you had fun? Type it in the chat. Let me know that this is a good time. I see some smiles. I'm trying to catch my breath. Love it. Good stuff. Awesome. Wait until we have our new studio and we have a full-on stage just rocking this thing out. It's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to be mind-blowing. Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you went through school, when you went through kindergarten, first, 7, 6, 6, 7, 10, 12th grade, right? Some of you went to college, some didn't, that's fine. What is it that they actually taught us in school? What do you remember them teaching us in school? What were the subjects that they taught us? Type it into the chat real quick. Great to see you here, Linda. How to synthesize information. All right, so they taught us history, they taught us math, they taught us music, right? Yeah, science, trigonometry, English, math, right? History. So let me ask you a question. How many of you have noticed that people come out of school well-equipped for a world that doesn't exist? They've been trained on how to learn math, science, English, and history, but we never learned the most important pieces. Number one, we never learned how to actually learn. We learned how to memorize. We didn't learn how to think. We didn't learn how to understand our subconscious programming. And our subconscious programming is what's determining our success in our life and our business. What they also didn't teach us was how to set and achieve goals. Now think about that. You go through 12, 13 years of school, and they never taught us how to set and achieve goals. So just for kicks right now, how many of you have gone through some kind of goal setting course, right? So you know how to actually set a goal properly, because there are ways you can do it properly, and there's ways that you can do it improperly. There's ways to actually set goals that cause you more harm than good. And most people don't realize that. There's 14 patterns that people do in goal setting that causes them to fail right out of the gates. All right. So some of you are saying yes. Melinda's saying me, I learned it. Linda learned it, taught it. Okay. And learning, Juan says learning as we speak. Very cool. Okay. So what we found, and when Bobby says, you know, Jim's helped a lot of people around the world, I have been passionate about two things for 30 years. Number one is transformation. What does it take to transform our lives? What does it take to transform industries? And when Bobby said, you know, we transformed the real estate industry, back in 1998, if you think back to that time, those of you who are old enough, I'm 52 now, so I've got a little history under my belt. I've been building companies for 30 years. Back when 1998 was around, if you wanted to buy a house, what did you have to do? You had to call up a real estate agent who had the MLS. It was an actual printed guide, and they would drive you around to see all the homes. Now, talk about inefficient, talk about things that don't really make sense. But the moment the MLS went online, we actually brought out the world's first 360-degree virtual tours. Now, 1999 and on, what do you do if you want to look at a home? You go online first and you can see hundreds or thousands or millions of homes instead of driving around where you might be able to see 10, 20, 30, 40 in a weekend, right? So introducing technology transformed that industry. And ever since that, we've been using technology to change the way that we do life and the way that we do business. Today, I'm going to introduce you to some inner technology, how your brain operates, how your mind operates, and how to start to reprogram your neural pathways to achieve the highest level of success. That's what most people want, right? How many of you would love to literally be able to reprogram yourself to be happier, healthier, and wealthier instead of unhappy, sick, and broke? And not only do it for yourself, but then take this and teach it to other people. To me, this is what we should have been learning in school. We should have been teaching our children, our kids, how to think differently, how to understand their subconscious mind, how to align their vision, mission, values, and goals so they live a fulfilling life. So let's start right out of the gates with something that I call the 4 freedoms. And when you're setting goals, what I encourage you to do is to ask yourself, will this goal move me towards the 4 freedoms? Okay. Now, this is something that I discovered after many years of looking at people's goals and realized most people want these 4 things. They want to be free, but there's 4 types of freedom. So type into the chat, what do you think some of the 4 freedoms are? And then I'm going to share screen here and start my little iPad drawing so we can get into some fun stuff here. All right, so when you think about freedom, what are the different types of freedom that we as entrepreneurs, as game-changing individuals want to have? All right, so we're going to start off with this concept called the 4 freedoms. And when you're setting goals, I encourage you to take a look at this and say, man, what are most of my goals actually trying to take me to? They're trying to take me to this place where I'm free. But what are these freedoms? So let's talk about the first one. All right. The first freedom is called time freedom. How many of you would love to be at the control of your own schedule, to determine when you do whatever you want to do? Not somebody else, but you set your schedule. You decide who you invest your time with. You decide when you take time off, when you work, when you play with your family, when you travel, that kind of thing. Okay. So the first freedom that I want you to work towards is called time freedom. And as entrepreneurs in the beginning, you're going to invest time, which is also energy in your business. It's going to require some energy for you to learn and for you to apply what you learn. That's what becoming an entrepreneur is all about, right? We invest time. It takes me less time now to build and start companies than it did 30 years ago because I understand the framework and I've restructured my thinking to be able to do it faster and easier than ever before. So the first thing is time. We want time freedom. The second thing is called location freedom. We want to be able to do what we want from wherever we want. Now, the beautiful thing about this is now you can literally start any business from the palm of your hand. You can be a powerful entrepreneur from the palm of your hand in any country around the world. This device is more powerful than what NASA had 30 years ago. You can run your business from the palm of your hand. You can run your finances. You can check your health. Bobby was hitting me up. I was hitting him on Facebook today saying, hey, I'm going to challenge you to this 22-day push-up challenge in honor of our veterans. I don't know if most of you know this, but we lose 22 veterans a day right now in the U.S. because of suicide. And my dad was a Vietnam vet, frontline Marines, and he struggled his whole life with PTSD. And my heart goes out to the people who struggle every day because they haven't been getting the support that they need. And that's their challenge as to how do they manage life. But for us, we have the ability right now to do what we do from anywhere in the world. So I tagged Bobby in this 22-day push-up challenge, right? I'm over here in California. Bobby's on the East Coast. We're doing our challenges. He's giving me smack talk, right? He's shooting back to me his number of steps he's doing every day, right? We're doing this from the palm of our hands. I'm broadcasting to you right now from the beach in San Diego, California. Charles and I are over here, and you're wherever you are in the world. We have the ability to do this anywhere in the world, right? So you want time freedom, you want location freedom. The third freedom, and this is the one that most people think of first, but this is actually the third freedom, is called financial freedom. Now, as we dive deeper into our Power University, and I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg today, I want you to fall in love with learning again. I want you to open up your minds and expand your hearts, because we're literally just going to scratch the surface. I'm going to teach you 3 key things today out of 300 that are going to take your life to another level. All right. But financial freedom is actually done by design, not by default. See, we never learned in school the 3 keys to wealth. By the way, just out of curiosity, I'm going to pause sharing for a second. What do you believe it takes in order to become financially free? Go ahead and type it in the chat right now. What do you believe that it takes to become financially free? There are 3 things that are required. And by the way, I'm somebody who looks for patterns. So I'm always looking for the simplest way to succeed the fastest. So what does it take? All right. So debt free, it takes guts. Hopefully we're not spilling out our guts. Passive income, opportunity, dedication, a plan, discipline, knowledge. All right. Be organized, goals, focus, consistency. Now what's really interesting, okay, look at all the different answers. Look at all the different answers that we have here, which means what? What were we not taught in school? How many of you wish that you had learned how to become financially free in school? Show of hands. What does it make sense, any sense at all, that we didn't learn that? If we didn't learn how to become financially free, if we didn't learn how to get in the best physical shapes of our lives, and if we didn't ultimately learn how to be happy, what the heck did we do for 13 years? I mean, honestly, if we didn't learn how to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, did we in fact learn how to be unhappy, sick, and broke? Take a look at the results right now in the United States and around the world. We have millions of people that are struggling. We have to help people understand how to win the game of life, right? And the key to the game of life is to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. If you are happy, healthy, and wealthy, how many of you would agree that's winning, right? Versus unhappy, sick, and broke. So the key to financial freedom, and let me just share this. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm on a roll. I'm having fun with this, so we're going to do it, right? So here we go. We're going to share the screen again. Here's what it takes to be financially free. It's super simple. The core of financial freedom is passive income is greater than monthly expense. Okay? That's the core equals freedom, financial freedom. All right? Now, the example would be, let's say that you're making $10,001 per month passive income from what Charles mentioned and Bobby mentioned earlier, because you've built a team that you have mentored and they are now successful at selling solar and running their own businesses. You have developed duplication by teaching someone else how to think and act like an entrepreneur. Let's say you're making $10,000 a month, and let's say that your expenses are $9,999 a month. You are technically financially free. Okay. Now you could have a monthly expense of $5,000 per month. And at 5,001, you are technically financially free. But what does it take to get there? There are 3 keys to this. Number 1, you need to understand something called cash flow creation. Cash flow creation is how you create cash. In the terms of power, we have multiple avenues for you to create cash. We have active, and we also have what? Passive. And inside of passive, we have multiple ways to do this, okay? Because you have your overrides that you make, and we also have your equity. In other words, your stock. So as the value of the company grows, because we're all contributing, because life is a team sport, your investments are increasing also. So number 1 is you got to understand how to create cash. Number 2, and this is actually the most important, you have to understand how to manage your cash flow. All right, so you have to create it, then you have to manage it. Most people have no clue how to manage their cash flow. As a result, they make it and spend it. They never get to the 3rd piece, which is to what? Invest it. You have to create it, you have to manage it, and you have to invest it. But what's the key? The key to it is cash flow. Cash flow is energy. It flows in your life, it flows out of your life, it flows into your expenses, or it flows into your investments. The cool thing about the investment is if you create it properly, you manage it properly, you invest it properly, the investments actually create more of it. Then you have a whole new set of challenges, which is what some of our leaders are having, which is how do I build a team that helps me invest my money? How do I become an impact investor? Which is the road that I've been on for almost a decade now, is how to take our wealth, how to use our wealth, which is energy, which is currency, right? We talk about energy all the time and power. How do we use this to help other people start businesses in other industries to solve the biggest problems on the planet? How do we start investing in the way that the wealthiest people do as impact investors? Okay, so just out of curiosity, let's type in before we go into the fourth freedom. I want to see the chat again. What are you learning so far? What are you hearing out of this? What insights are you having so far? Okay, so investing is leveraging. That's true. And by the way, I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg. We want to teach you about true wealth creation, not just how to sell more stuff, but how to properly grow wealth so you have a solid financial foundation and you reach the 4 levels of financial freedom. Okay. So the importance of structure, yeah, there's strategy to creating wealth and structure. The future is bright. Michael says, keep it coming, baby, keep it coming, show us. Yeah, cash flow is energy, right? It's neither positive nor negative, right? Managing the finances, money is growing. Discipline is interesting because that means the disciple within. Now think about that. The word discipline is the disciple within. And that actually leads me right back to the 4th freedom. Okay. The 4th freedom is one that most people don't realize. They spend all of their time and energy focused on financial freedom. Then from that financial freedom, they're like, all right, now I can have some time freedom, et cetera, et cetera. What we're going to talk about is the 4th freedom. And this is, again, a doorway into a piece of the training that I learned almost 30 years ago that helped me understand how to set and achieve any goals that I wanted in my life. The 4th freedom is actually called, anybody know? Anybody want to type it in? What do you think the 4th freedom is? Not time, not location, not financial. The 4th freedom is actually called inner freedom. Inner freedom. And this is where we get into our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual beings. This is where true mastery is. If you want to win the game of life, if you want to be a powerful entrepreneur, if you want to not just have time and not just have location and not just have financial freedom, but have inner freedom to be able to resolve your issues from the past, be able to be a values-driven leader in life and in business, this is where the real fun is. This is where the real magic is. And part of what you have to do in order to have inner freedom is to actually adopt something that's called a growth mindset. Okay. Now, most people have a closed mindset. And I don't blame most people, because if you went through the traditional education system, you were learned how to memorize things. It was not fun. It was not inspiring. It didn't even show you the path to freedom. So it's no wonder that most people reject learning after they're done with school. But you know what the one thing is in common that every successful entrepreneur has? And I don't care if you're talking about Oprah Winfrey or Steve Jobs or even Michael Jordan. If you haven't seen Michael Jordan's Netflix special, it's actually about the Bulls, but it really features Michael Jordan. It's called The Last Dance. I encourage you to watch that, because here's a guy who was committed to every single day, even though he was literally the best basketball player in the world, he was still committed to growth. Every single day he challenged himself. As a matter of fact, he looked for opportunities to challenge himself because otherwise he was bored. He was better than everyone else. So the growth mindset is key. And in order for us to succeed at the highest level as individuals and as a collective team in power, which is what we are, when you hear that Jonathan and I co-founded this company, that just means that we started the game. It just means that from there, Bobby and Charles and Andrea and the rest of the people came together to say, let's figure this out. And then from there, the next level of the team and all of you that are coming in, all of us are just the beginning. We're only talking about thousands of people right now. Eventually, we're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in 195 countries paneling the planet. And by the way, solar is just the beginning of what we're going to disrupt. It's just the beginning. So if you want a fun game, if you want to truly expand, if you want to reach your fullest potential, the growth mindset is absolutely key. If you have a fixed mindset, we need to break that, because that means that what you are today is the most you're ever going to be. If you have a fixed mindset, who you are and what you are today is the most you're ever going to be. But with a growth mindset, everything is possible. And I'm not here just to get you excited about it. I'm going to prove to you how you can do this. There's only 3 things that have to happen. Okay? By the way, anybody enjoying this? Just out of curiosity? Okay, I want to make sure. Because if you don't want to do this, by the way, because if you don't want to do this, go back to doing what you do. You don't have to grow, right? Maybe your life is exactly the way that you want it, and that's totally cool, right? I, for one, have found that growth is intoxicating. For me, it's fun to challenge myself to come up with new ideas and new concepts and to inspire other people to not just learn this, but to apply it. Because it's one thing to set a goal, it's another thing to achieve it, right? Setting a goal is easy. You just decide what it is that I want. The achievement is where the evolution is. And the purpose of a goal is not just to achieve or attain or acquire something, right? How many of you, by the way, have achieved the goal of getting that car that you desired? Or maybe it was a bike or an outfit or a trip that you want to take or funding a kid's college. Like, you've achieved those goals. And what's great about that is it felt good, right? It felt good to attain that goal. But then it's a depreciating experience. That new car only feels new for a couple of weeks. So it's not about just achieving or attaining the goal. It's actually what happens in the process. And that is the true purpose of a goal. The purpose of a goal is not to achieve or attain or acquire something. The purpose of a goal is to evolve you, to cause you to go outside of what you currently know, to cause you to go outside of your current emotional capacity and challenge you to expand to meet the level of that goal. So the right question is never, am I worthy of this goal? The right question is this goal worthy of me? Is this goal worth me trading my life for? Because guess what? Every single one of us is trading our life for these goals. And if the goal isn't worthy of your life, you've chosen the wrong goal. Now think about that for a moment. If the goal isn't big enough to cause you to evolve and to look back on your life and go, that was worth trading my life for, then it actually isn't worthy of you. It's not that you're not worthy of the goal. It's that the goal isn't worthy of your life. So with that, let me share the 3 keys to having a growth mindset and achieving anything that you desire in your life. This is really simple, but it's deep, okay? So the first piece is you have to have the right skill sets, okay? No matter what it is that you want to accomplish, you've got to have the right skill sets. So just for kicks, go ahead and type into the chat, those who've been around solar, what are some of the skills that you need to be successful in solar or in the power business? Type in some of the skills. Perfect. So Brandon says communication skills, right? Justin says sales. And sales is kind of a broad term. So the ability to diagnose and prescribe, the ability to influence, right? Product knowledge, yeah, you've got to understand the panels and the inverters and the adders and the KWs. I mean, it's a whole language you have to learn, right? It's kind of like Rosetta Stone for solar. So you've got a new language to learn, okay? Relatability, yeah, follow up, right? Staying focused, okay? How about this? How many of you who submitted some things have realized that it doesn't go perfect 100% of the time? There's some challenges that you have to do. Anybody notice that besides me, right? Okay, so guess what? You have to learn how to navigate those hurdles. You have to learn how to jump over them or go around them. You have to learn how to maintain rapport and build trust. These are all things. So look at all the skills that you can learn. Now, let me ask you a question. When you learn those skills in this business, are those skills applicable anywhere? Are they applicable anywhere else? They are, right? So once you know these skills, once you understand the skills of business, and I can share with you in our Power University, we're going to be teaching you how to become a powerful entrepreneur. We're going to teach you the core business wheel, something that I designed that I teach to all my CEOs, because I want to know that they know how to build a business, not that you would want to sell, but build a business you would want to buy. Think about yourself as a business owner. You don't want to sell a business. You don't want to build a business you like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of this business. You want to build a business that you would love to buy, not one you'd want to sell, which means that it has a core structure. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to share with you the core business wheel. Charles, Bobby, you guys good with this if I just kind of bounce? Yay. Charles, like, you're going to do it anyway, so why not, right? All right. So here's what I call the core business wheel. Now, we're not going to go in detail on this, but I want to give you a peek into the future, because this is what I teach our entrepreneurs. You want to understand how to start not just one business, but multiple businesses. You want to understand how to run a powerful business that you have time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and inner freedom. You do business and life by design instead of life by default. So you start with your values. What do you value most in life? The reason Bobby was reading our values here, and I keep them on our desk, this is my copy of Power Values, is because that is the heart of the business. The values and the mission and the vision are the heart of this business. If you don't know our Power mission by heart yet, you need to memorize this one sentence, because the mission is what we're on right now. We are a unit that is moving towards this. So we are on a mission to accelerate the adoption of clean energy worldwide. We are on a mission to accelerate the adoption of clean energy worldwide, and we will not stop until we achieve that mission. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, so we know our core values, we are united in our mission, and we have a vision that goes beyond just the world's best platform for helping you run a solar business, not just in the United States, but in every country in the world. We have a vision that includes not just the best solar products and panels in the world, but other things that I'm not at liberty to share yet. We have a vision for us building a world-class training environment that's going to allow you to bring other people into this business and change their life and change their business forever, to set humanity on a new course for leveling up their life. That's not by default. That is by divine inspiration. And that is what we're building. Once you know your values, your vision, and mission, you decide on your products and services that help you fulfill on that heart-driven values, mission, and vision of a company. And then you operationalize your business: marketing, sales, support, HR, legal, finance, ops, and technology. Now, you may be thinking, I don't need all that. And you're right, because guess what? We've been building that. We do 90% of that for you. But if you learn how to master marketing and selling, you will exponentially grow your wealth in the next 12 to 36 months. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you just focus on the top two things, you will exponentially grow your wealth. So how many of you have a picture how you could have a business that runs by design? Anybody see this now? Okay, so it's not hard, but if you've never been taught that, then it's a new concept. So once you understand how to build that business, you can scale that business. And the business doesn't have to own you. You can actually have the four freedoms. So the first thing is understanding the skill sets that are necessary at each stage of the business. And the first skill sets you need to learn in order to be successful in Power, as Charles said, there's only two things. It's how to sell solar and how to help somebody else do that. So when we look at the skill sets of marketing and sales and things like that, that is about 10% of your success. Okay. If you want to reach success, that's going to be about 10%, the skill sets. And what's great is we are rebuilding the university right now so that there's a solar academy. And inside that solar academy is solar certification and solar mastery. Those two curriculums will teach you everything you need to know in order to succeed at selling solar. And you can make a great 5 or 6 figure, maybe even 7 figures, just selling solar. Never ever building a team, but just from your personal active income efforts. That's 10% of it. All right. Now, the next piece, and this is what I'm going to dive into a little bit deeper today. The next piece is about 40% of your success, and it is your mindset. Your mindset is 40% of your success. How do we know this is true? Well, I'll tell you why. If we taught every single one of you today the top 5 or 10 skills you needed to be successful, what's the difference between the person who goes out and takes those skills and applies them over the next 90 days and they close their solar deals, they build their team, and they start leveraging massive income? What's the difference between that person and the person who hears the skill sets, they go to the trainings, but they can't get themselves to take consistent action to win? What's the difference? It's the inner game. This mindset is actually made up of 2 things. It's made up of how we think and how we feel. There are days where I don't feel like getting up and doing my daily priming routine. We have something we're going to teach you called the power priming routine, where every morning you get up. Bobby's giving me the yeah. Every morning you're going to get up and you're going to do the proper exercise. You're going to do your mental activities. So for some of you, you'll meditate. Some of you will do your visualization. You're going to see the future that you most desire. We're going to align your thoughts, your feelings, and your soul. So your body, mind, and spirit with your greatest evolution. That's what you do, is you prime yourself every day for success. That's how you start your morning. Then we have a game plan throughout the day. What do you need to do to hit 6 or 7 figures in this business so you have the 4 freedoms? And then we have what you call, so there's power up your day, power play, which is the game you play all day, and then power down. How do you relax, refocus, recharge, and recalibrate for the next day, called power down? We'll give you the template to be a 7-figure business owner in this company. Now, the only question is can you develop your mindset, the way you think and feel every day? There are days that I wake up that I don't feel like doing my push-ups. I don't feel like doing my pull-ups. I don't feel like doing my visualization or my gratitude work. But you know what? It doesn't matter what I feel like, because I always know that I'm going to do it anyways, and I will feel like doing it when I'm done. That's the beautiful thing, right? No athlete. I remember Junior Seau and I got to know each other. He was the football player for the Chargers for many years. And he and I went out partying one night. We took a limo with some friends for a birthday. There was 4 of us, and we went up to LA and we partied like rock stars. And if you've ever been out with, true rock stars, and he was in this area, especially San Diego, like hundreds of people will come around you at dinners and stuff like that. So we had fun. Let's say we did a lot more tequila, and I don't know why, but I challenged him to a shots contest, right? And I don't drink a lot, which is my first thing, but he's huge. Like Junior Seau was a big boy, and he was a well-trained athlete, and he liked to party. So he put me under the table, right? But here's what was interesting. As the limo dropped us off at his house at 2 a.m., and then I was the last one to get dropped off, it was really interesting because he said, well, it's 2 a.m. and I've got to be up in another 2.5 hours. And I'm going to be jogging Torrey Pines by 5 a.m. And I said, what? You've been out partying all night. He goes, it doesn't matter what I feel like now. It's not even going to matter what I feel like in the morning. He goes, excellence is my only option. Excellence is my only option. So he had already made the decision that he was going to do it. It wasn't a decision he needed to make. He had already made that decision. My question to you is, have you already decided if you're going to succeed in power? If you have not made that decision, this is your point. Right now, I want every one of you to type into the chat, because this is your first decision. I want you to type in that I have made the decision to succeed in power. This is going to be your greatest evolution. This is your first starting point. So type it into the chat, every one of you right now. And if you have the inner game that's going, I'm going to show you what's happening in your inner game. Because if you don't understand how to reprogram your thinking, there may be a part in your head that says, ooh, I don't know if I want to commit to this. That's your old thinking. That's your stinking thinking. That's the part of the mind that's been programmed to be unhappy, sick, and broke. And we're literally going to help you reprogram that. Okay? Perfect. You've made the decision. It's important. Type it in. I have made the decision to succeed in power. You are making a declaration. You are telling your subconscious and your superconscious that you have made the decision. Its job is to follow through on that decision until you achieve it. Okay? Step 1, make the decision. All right, there's a formula that I teach all of our coaches, and it's called the CDA: clarify, decide, and act. Get clear on what you want, make a decision, and take action. That's it. It's not clarify what you want, make a decision, think about it, talk yourself out of it, and never do it. That's not the formula. That's what most people do. This is clarify what you want, make a decision, and take an action. Right? Do you think it was easy when Jonathan and I decided to fund this company and to start this company? No. Do you think it was easy when we made the list of people that we wanted to ask to invest in this company? No. Do you think it was easy to make decisions to go to Solar City and say, let's partner? No. Do you think it was easy to end that relationship and start a new relationship, as Bobby said, with 100 solar partners and to bet the whole business on this new direction? No. But guess what? It didn't matter. We made the decision as a team. We got clear on what we wanted. We made decisions and we take massive action. That's how you win. That's the formula for success for every one of them. So I love the fact that every one of you has made the decision. Now is the fun part. Now we get to work with you to change what your mindset is. And the third key, and this is why it's so important to stay connected to power. The third key to make sure that when you don't want to do it, when you don't feel like it, when it gets tough, because it will get tough. That's how you get challenged, okay? When it gets tough, that's when you step up and you play a bigger game. The third key to success, so I'm just going to put this out here. The third key to success in anything in life and business is called your environments. Your environments are 50% of your success. 50% minimum of your success. Now, the mindset and the environments together, your inner and outer worlds, are determining your ability to succeed. It's not your skill sets. We can teach you your skill sets in a weekend. It's how do we evolve your thinking and your behavior over the course of the next 3 months to 12 months. How do we help you reprogram you so you are playing the highest level of game? Well, we have designed multiple environments because let's be honest, not everyone has the most positive, inspiring environment around them. I grew up in a one-stoplight town with 13 bars. I didn't grow up with a bunch of mentors around me. I didn't grow up in my early 20s is when I met Tony Robbins. Before that, I only had one mentor, and he was a dentist. My mom was a dental hygienist, and he was a dentist. And you know what he did? He gave me the greatest gift. He believed in me. He said, Jimmy, you are meant for something greater than being in this town. You are meant to do something more in the world. Now, I don't know if he said that to everybody or not, but I heard it and I believed it. And as a result, I acted on it. And I searched for mentors. I searched for people who knew more about life and business than me. As a result, I ended up finding Tony Robbins. I went to work with Tony Robbins and traveled for a year, filling those events and learning how to change our beliefs to change our mind. After that, I went and built a company with Bob Proctor. Many of you know Bob Proctor from The Secret. So Bob Proctor and John Assaraf and Murray Smith and Mark Meyerdorf and I have been friends for 30 years. John Assaraf and I have been best friends. He introduced me to my wife. I've been in multiple of his weddings, right? So we have been best friends. We've raised our families together. Some of the brightest thinkers in the world. How many of you are familiar with Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, the author, Chicken Soup? Jack and I have been best friends for years. We taught together for 5 years. I taught business and he taught life. It was such a great experience, right? I've worked with amazing entrepreneurs that have taught me things about life and business. So the gifts that I'm giving to you were gifts that were given to me. I accepted those gifts. I embraced those gifts. I became hungry for learning and change because what I got in school was nice. I learned math, science, English, history, and I learned how to write and type. That's fantastic. But none of that helped me learn what it takes to have a successful marriage of 20 years, to raise a 14-year-old who started his first business at 5, who makes straight A's and is in sports. None of that has helped me learn how to build multiple business after multiple business to change the world. I'm going to share with you those gifts. Charles is going to share with you his gifts. Bobby's going to share. Every one of you has gifts to contribute. And as you learn and you pass that information on, as you challenge yourself to get to the next level, we will create an army of men and women around the world that are not only paneling the planet, but we are leveling up people's lives. Because there is no greater gift that you can give someone than the gift of a shift in thinking. My friends, there are millions of people that are just hoping, praying, going to bed every night for a change in their reality. The environment that we are creating here is going to be positive, inspiring, and powerful. That is our commitment to you. So all those in favor of being a part of that environment and helping us do that, say aye. Aye, good, motion carried. Okay. And it takes time. You have to stay plugged into this. right? Once a week is great. 5 times a week is even better. 7 days, that's awesome. Stay connected. And over time, we will help you change the way you think and the way you feel and the way that you act. And Leilani, you are more than welcome. I am so honored to be back here. As Charles and Bobby said, Jonathan and I and the team went shoulder to shoulder for 4 years, and I needed some time. I started another initiative, which is now moving. Right. And now I'm back because I realize we're at a critical point. We're at a point where we have thousands of people that's going to turn into hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands of people in this company paneling 195 countries. That's where we're headed. So we need to invest in you. We need to make sure that all of us are clear on what we want and we're making the right decisions. And more importantly, we are taking daily action. You will create more wealth, more financial freedom. You will have the best time of your life. I promise you that, if you lean in 100%. My friend Jack Canfield said this to me one time, and I want you to think about this, in your own life. He said, Jim, I got a question for you. When you think back to the things that you've achieved, what has been harder and what has been easier? When you were 99% committed or when you were 100% committed? He said, in my experience, 99% is hard. 100% is easy. Now think about that. How many of you have been 99% in? And it's hard, isn't it? Right? Marco's like, yep, got it. That was me. Right? It's hard to be 99% in. 100% is easy. And you want to know why? Because the universe backs you up. The universe aligns with you. When you are 99% in, that 1% is the anchor that's keeping you from being in flow. It's the anchor that's keeping you from reaching your max potential. So I don't want 99% of your heart. I want 100% to be in it for you, for your family, for your future, and for our planet, for goodness sakes. We have a very short window to panel this planet. And I'm excited. I think we can do this. I know we can do this. We have to be all in. There is no partial commitment in this game. It's all in. And when you lean all in, when you come 100% and we help you with your skill sets, your mindset, and we upgrade your environments, you're going to have a new life. I promise you, 100%. Okay? I love it. 100% all in. All those who are 100% in. And by the way, if you're not, that's okay. We'll get you there, right? If you're 100% in, type it in the chat. 100% in. You are making a declaration with your body, with your mind, with your soul that you are 100% in. No one can stop us when we are 100% in. Somebody was asking me at dinner the other night about, what do you think if Trump wins again? I go, I don't care. I absolutely don't care. I don't care if Trump wins. I don't care if Biden wins. You know why? Those guys work for us. It may not seem like it. We may have delegated our power to them, but who do you think it is that writes the checks to the lobbyists that influence the politicians? Who do you think it is that pays the taxes? It's the corporations. It's us. We are the people. We've just delegated our power to them. I don't care who wins. We're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to build the largest army of people in the world that want a cleaner, brighter future. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're going to not only panel the planet, we're going to get everybody to shift to electric vehicles. Eventually, we're going to be flying in airplanes that not just don't pollute the air, because I think right now everybody thinks, oh, we should just get the cars to not pollute. Absolutely not. My vision is we want to tell people to drive more in those electric vehicles because they will filter the air with an HVAC system. I want millions of people driving and flying every single day, and I want those vehicles to purify the air. Do you realize that we just had millions of acres burn in California, and in a week, we replaced more carbon in the atmosphere than was sequestered in 100 years? In a week. We have work to do, my friends. We have work to do, and we need more people. We need more people to wake up and to join us in this vision and mission, and the rewards will be that of a king's ransom, I promise you. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Every one of us is involved. There's 7.5 billion players in this game called life. Right now, there's 3,000 of us that wake up every day and get committed to this. We need 300,000, 3 million, 3 billion, eventually 7.5 billion people playing the game of life. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so are you ready to learn one of the frameworks about mindset? By the way, Bobby, Charles, how are we doing on time? We got another 2 seconds, 15 minutes. What do we have? Give me a heads up on.
We have up to 30 minutes, my friend. You're doing amazing. Everyone.
Time is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Time is irrelevant.
Time is irrelevant. There you go.
All right. How about the rest of you guys? You want to keep rocking? Are you still open? You got more time? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share screen again, and I want to take you into what does it take to start shifting our mindset. All right. So the work that we're going to do with you is not just emotional, right? It's not just inspirational. We want to actually help you start to understand, how do I rewire my neural pathways? How do I literally reprogram my thinking so it's in alignment with the 4 freedoms? Because right now, if you are not experiencing the 4 freedoms, if you don't have a choice with your time, where you live, your money, and your inner, then someone else has programmed you. And I want you to understand that all of us have been programmed, right? If you've watched TV, if you listened to the radio, if you looked at the news, if you went to school, if you ever listened to your father, mother, church, or state, you have been programmed. Every one of us has. It's almost impossible not to be programmed today. If you walk out in public today and you see somebody with a little swoosh symbol on their shirt, you automatically know what that is, right? If you look at the back of a computer and you see a little Apple, you know what company that is, right? If you look at this phone and you go, oh, that's a fill in the blank. That's an iPhone or a Google phone. We've all been programmed. The question is are you ready to reprogram you to become happy, healthy, and wealthy? As I mentioned before, most people have been programmed to be unhappy, sick, and broke. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a little model over here. This is our outcome. We want you to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Now, I know a lot of people came to this business because they wanted to make more money, and I love that. I think every one of you should be in a constant state of abundance, and that is the goal, which is not just your financial state, it is a mental state. I also want to challenge each of us as entrepreneurs to be examples in the world of being happy, being healthy, and being wealthy. I'm going to show you in a future webinar the 9 key principles to happiness, health, and wealth. There's 3, 3, and 3. All right. Actually, I already gave you these 3. I just remembered. I gave you the 3 key principles of wealth. You've got to create it, you've got to manage it, and you've got to invest it. Right. There's also 3 keys to health, and there are 3 keys to happiness. But I can't give it all to you in one night. Okay. We're gonna get you there. But the goal here is to make sure that we start to focus on being happy, healthy, and wealthy instead of being what I call USB. Unhappy, sick, and broke. Now, I know that every single one of you has already made this choice. You are already on the way to happiness, health, and wealth. You've made a decision. You've made a declaration. This is the outcome. Every single person in our company is working towards this result. And I'm going to draw a big R here for results. That is the result that we want you to have. Now, your results are a byproduct of what? What are your results a byproduct of? Anybody know? What are results a byproduct of? Type it in the chat real quick. What is it? Yeah, it's our actions, right? Our actions lead to our results. So for example, if you want to have a better physical body, what are some of the actions or habits? Because what is a habit? A habit is a series of actions that's on autopilot. You don't have to think about it. But if you want to be healthier, what are one of the things that we can do? What's an action we can do every day to help us become healthier? Type them in. You all know this. All right. So somebody says work out, drink water, right? Food, but certain types of food, right? Okay. Diet, maybe, rest, exercise. Good. So you're getting some of the principles. I'll share the other 3 later. But yes, you're right on track. You know what to do. It's not a matter of knowing what to do. It's a matter of being able to program yourself to be on autopilot so you don't have to think what to do. You just automatically do what is necessary. You literally are going to program yourself to be happier, healthier, and wealthier by taking the proper actions. So we know that we have to take the right actions over and over again until they become what? Until they become habits. All right? They have to become habits. But let me ask you a question. What is it that drives our actions in most people? There are 2 things that drive the actions in most people. It's how we think and how we feel. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about feelings first because feelings are actually another way of saying emotions, energy in motion. Now there's 4 primary emotions: happy, sad, angry, and scared. There are 200 derivative emotions of that, but the primaries are happy, sad, angry, and scared. So for a lot of people, how they feel is what determines how they act. If you're under 24 years old, you realize the prefrontal cortex of the brain doesn't even develop its decision making until you're in your early 20s. So most kids are what? They're not thinking beings, they are feeling beings. This is why really good feelings like Christmas Day wire people in, and why sometimes something that's tough on somebody wires in a negative pathway. So for many people, their actions are determined by how they feel. Remember I said earlier, I don't ask myself, do I feel like working out? Because if I asked myself that, the answer sometimes would be no. And guess what action I would take? I would not move forward. The question isn't whether you feel like building your solar business. You've already made the commitment. You've already made the decision. So it's not whether I feel like doing it. Your feelings will go in alignment with what you decide. Remember, I want to be clear on what I want, make decisions, and take actions. It's irrelevant how I feel. My feelings are emotions. They're energy in motion, and it's organic. It's constantly changing. You may be happy one minute. You may be inspired another minute. You may be sad one minute. That's irrelevant. Change the way you feel, you change the way that you act. But most of us never learn how to change our biochemistry. We never learn how to feel. That would have been nice to learn in school. It would have been cool if they taught me how to think differently, how to feel differently, and how to act in accordance with whatever I wanted, happiness, health, and wealth. Seems like that would have made common sense, but for whatever reason, that's not what most people were programmed with, okay? So let's talk about our thoughts, because this is what's driving a lot of people, especially nowadays. It seems like we have a society, oops, I'm gonna redraw this. It seems like we have a society that does a lot of thinking. We're in our heads quite often. And this is a model that I learned from Bob Proctor years ago. And Bob actually learned this model from a chiropractor down in Dallas, Texas. All right. Now, this model right here is called the stick man. All right. So write that down, write down the stick man. And what this does is it gives us something that is tangible that we can work with. When I was with Tony Robbins before I met Bob Proctor, Tony talked about the power of changing your life by changing your beliefs. In other words, if you believe that you're going to be successful, if you believe that abundance is your birthright, if you believe that you deserve to be ultimately healthy, if you believe that you deserve the right to be happy, your belief will drive your behavior. But a belief is like the wind. You can't see the wind, but you know it exists. Can you see the wind? No. You can see the effects of the wind blowing through the trees or the leaves, but you can't actually see the wind. It's intangible, but you see the effects of it. Can you see a belief? Can you see a belief? You can't. Can you see someone's belief if they believe that they are attractive or unattractive, if their body is in a good form? Can you see somebody's belief if they are going to be abundant or not? You can't. You can see the effects of their beliefs. And because you can see the effects of their belief, then guess what? You can then determine what they believe, because you must act in accordance with your beliefs. Okay? So when I learned this from Bob Proctor, when I learned the power of beliefs from Tony Robbins, I didn't have a model that I could use. But what you're seeing in the black here is the model of a stick man. And up here is what we call our conscious mind. Okay? So your conscious mind, we'll write the letter C, that is your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is really interesting because your conscious mind has the ability to accept, okay? So it can accept or it can reject ideas. Your conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject ideas. So let's say that Bobby says something to you and Bobby's outside of you and Bobby says, you know what, Susie, I believe you have what it takes to be successful in this business. Your conscious mind can say, I accept that, I don't accept that. Right? It can accept or reject the idea. The reality is your subconscious mind does not have the ability to reject that idea. Your subconscious mind makes up 5/6 of our reality. Your conscious mind is only 1/6 of our thought process. In other words, most of us are operating on autopilot. Most of our thoughts are actually based on our subconscious programming, how you've been programmed. So let me tie this in. If you want to understand what you've been programmed with, what do you need to look at? Since you can't see a belief, we can't see your subconscious programming, what we can see is we can look at your results. We can look down here at your HHW or your USB and determine, are you happy, healthy, and wealthy, or are you unhappy, sick, and broke? And guess what? This is what's determining it, your subconscious programming. So how do you look at this? How do you start to reprogram yourself? It's really, really simple. The information that's coming in, and I'm gonna simplify this really easy. I'm gonna use green and red. Okay? I'm gonna use green to represent positive ideas, inspirational ideas. I'm gonna use red to represent negative ideas. All right. Now, from the age of 0 to 10, most of us adopted our core programming, our core beliefs. From the age of 0 to 10, your information that came in was either positive or negative. How do you know what you're programmed with? Well, let me ask you a question. How many of you were raised in an environment with a father, mother, siblings, maybe you were adopted, whatever your environment was, how many of you were raised in an environment that was 90 to 100% positive? In other words, most of what you heard about money and about health and about relationships was positive. If it was, then in your subconscious mind, they implanted positive ideas. Okay? So every time as a child, when you have an open mind, you heard something or saw something, you were being programmed. On the flip side, how many of you might have grown up in an environment where money was a little short, where prosperity wasn't there, where maybe you didn't have the best health habits being displayed, or maybe the relationships weren't filled with love and joy and abundance? Maybe your subconscious looks like this. Okay? It's irregardless whether or not you were programmed with positive or negative environments, and I'm using this for contrast. What's important is understanding that even though you may have been programmed to be unhappy, sick, and broke, and how do you know? Look at the results, okay? Look at your financials, look at your health, look at your relationships. If you are happy, healthy, and wealthy, then you have some positive beliefs. If not, then guess what? If you have the red, then we need to teach you how to start to reprogram all of this negative into positive. And here's the cool thing. There's only 2 ways to do this. There are 2 ways to reprogram the subconscious mind so that every thought you have moves you towards happiness, health, and wealth. Okay? Number 1 is called spaced repetition. Okay? Spaced repetition. Spaced repetition means that we are literally going to bombard the subconscious mind over and over with positive, inspiring, supportive messages. Everything that comes into your subconscious is going to be green. We are literally going to bombard it. So the only thoughts you can hold are thoughts around health, wealth, and happiness. That's the goal. Okay? It also means that we're going to what? We're going to eliminate anything that is negative. Now, most of you are probably going, well, how long does this take? How long does it take to change a habit? Now, some people would say it's 21 days. I've seen people that have drank and smoked for 40 years stop in an instant through an intervention process. I've also seen people that have been healthy for a long time start to become unhealthy. So it takes however long it takes. One of the key factors, though, is how strong and supportive is your what? Your environments. The reason we want you to stay plugged into power is because we are creating what's called an oxygen-rich environment. Everything you're going to hear from us is going to be positive, supportive, and moving you forward. You're going to constantly be championed. We are going to be a powerful environment for your life until you resonate at the same frequency, until you vibrate at the highest frequency possible. And then guess what? You become that environment for someone else. You become their coach. You become their mentor. We will help you if you are committed. And I know all of you are, because you already made the decision. We're going to help you literally start to reprogram your thinking. The second way, okay, spaced repetition just means I'm going to do something over and over and over again. I'm literally going to rewire my neuroplasticity in my brain so that the only thoughts and feelings that I can have are the thoughts and feelings and the actions that are going to lead me towards the happiness, health, and wealth that I desire. And here's what's great. For most of you, this will take somewhere between 3 months to 3 years. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you have been unhappy, sick, or broke for longer than 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? You struggled with finances or this or that. Be honest. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, right? I lived in a bomb shelter for a year, okay? I'll tell you that story at another time, but I literally lived in a bomb shelter for a year. So I know what it's like to be down and out. And I realized that I can reprogram myself. Nobody else is going to do it. I have to do it, but I needed support. So it doesn't matter if it took you, if you've been unhappy, sick, and broke for 10, 20, 30 years. Let's say that you've been unhealthy for 30 years. Would you trade 3 months to 3 years to reprogram your life? How many of you would? If we told you that in 3 months to 3 years, you could reprogram your life, you'd be willing to trust us for the next 3 months to 3 years. Okay. I mean, what's the option? Do it on your own? You can. You can go do it on your own, right? Or you can follow a proven pathway with us and thousands of people around the world. I've done this with over 20,000 entrepreneurs in 55 countries. It works time and time again. It's proven. So the only question you have to ask is, am I ready to create the life that I want? And if you are, then it's just, how quickly can I reprogram? How quickly can I prove to myself that I can do this? So awesome. I love seeing all the yeses. And by the way, if in the back of your head, if you have a little voice, and we all have that voice, okay? We all have that voice. If in the back of your head, you have any part of you that is creating doubt, that's the red. That's the red. That's what we're going to rewire and reprogram. All right. So number one is called spaced repetition. The second way to rewire your neuroplasticity, to literally reprogram yourself, not us, we're not going to do it, you're going to do it, is through high emotional impact. Okay. High emotional impact. And the reason I put this one second is this one is easy to do. It's literally just a time-based over and over and over. You just do it over and over. We're going to prime you for success every single day. All right. The high emotional impact is a little more random. All right. High emotional impact means something comes into your life experience and in a moment, bam, it wires in a new reality. All right. Now this can work for you or this can work against you. Right? But this is one of those things where someone has an awakening. They literally just rewire their neuroplasticity. And in a moment, it's like, I see everything different, right? They go from believing this to believing this. And as a result, you see their pathway change. Now we can recreate some of those. We will be doing some of those experiences, but we're going to focus primarily on spaced repetition. And the reason is that we use a methodology called slipping under the radar. All right, so remember we're drawing the stick man here. There's something that's really interesting that happens when we take a negative subconscious, right? So let's say that you've got a negative subconscious like this, and we start reprogramming it by inserting positivity. There comes a point where all of a sudden your conscious mind goes, wait a second, we have had habits for 5, 10, 20 years of being negative, or a habit of gossiping, or a habit of focusing on the problem instead of the solution, or a habit of thinking I'm not good enough, right? You've been programmed like that for years. Well, when we start reprogramming your subconscious, and all of a sudden these things pop up, the subconscious mind kicks it up above the radar. It brings it from the subconscious to the conscious. And what most people do is they misinterpret the message the subconscious is doing. What happens is the subconscious sends up a warning signal, and they're called the 5 hindrances. All right, and this is going to be the final lesson here today. All right, the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances are, number 1, doubt. Number 2, fear. Number 3, anxiety. Number 4, ill will. Number 5, anger. All right. When these 5 hindrances pop up, it's because your old programming, your negative programming, is starting to be overwritten. And your subconscious's job is to create what? Habits and patterns. So when those habits and patterns begin to change, your subconscious kicks it up to the conscious mind and says, wait a second, we've not been eating healthy. We've not been exercising. We've not been making 5,000 a month, 5,000 a week, 5,000 a day. That's not our norm. That's not what we've been programmed with. So it sends up a warning signal above the radar called doubt, fear, anxiety, and ill will. So I learned this from a scientist by the name of Dr. James Hart. John Ashraf and I went up to a place called the BioCybernaut Institute up in Northern California. And we went up to this place because this was one of the leading brain scientists in the world. And they hooked us up, they hooked our brains up with all these measuring devices, all these little pads that were doing our brainwave patterns, our alpha, theta, gamma, delta brainwaves. Now they do this for presidents of countries, they do this for CEOs, they do this for Navy SEALs, and they do it for Zen monks. And what they do is they measure the brainwave activity. So they hooked our brains up with these things, they put all this gel on us, and then they put us in a deprivation tank for days on end to measure our brainwave activity and to teach us how to start to control our own vibrational mental frequency, how to control our thoughts. But every time we changed our thoughts, this music would play, and you learn how to control the music with your brain. It was the wildest, craziest thing. But right before you have that breakthrough, right before you go from random thought to controlled thought, the 5 hindrances show up. The machine was measuring our frequency and noticed that we were having doubt or fear, anxiety, ill will, or anger. And that's how they knew that we were rewiring our thinking. It's pretty wild technology. So how many of you have ever been moving towards a goal? You were inspired, you were excited, you were motivated for like a day or 2 or 3 or 4. You were working out every day, you were eating healthy, or you were crushing your business. And then all of a sudden it's like you were going, and then you stopped. And you started going the other direction. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It happens to almost everybody at the beginning of the year. If they're not in the habit of working out and they set a New Year's resolution, it takes 2 to 3 to 4 weeks and they're back to their old patterns. Why? Because they misinterpret the 5 hindrances. When doubt, fear, anxiety, and ill will come through, most people have a breakdown, not in power. In power, we're going to help you have a breakthrough. You're right at that point of change. Most people misinterpret the data. They misinterpret the data, so they go back into their old behavior. They go back into their old fear. And as a result, they keep going back on this loop of the same results over and over until eventually they're insane. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So most people don't understand how to work with their own psychology to change their results. Okay? So we've covered a lot. I'm going to give a quick review and then I'm going to wrap this up because we're right at the top of time here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change our state again, because I want to make sure that every time we start and we finish, we change the way that we feel. I want you to associate learning to being fun, to being cool, to changing your life. So we started off by talking about the 4 freedoms. Right? And every single one of us committed to time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and inner freedom. And then I said, we're going to talk about this concept called inner freedom because that's where the work is. If you do the inner work, the outer results are going to show. We talked about what does it take to actually become financially free. It's passive income exceeding your monthly expense. And the 3 keys to wealth are to create it, manage it, and invest it. But it's all about cash flow. Flow is energy. Cash flow is currency, and currency is a current of energy. So we're going to teach you how to create and manage and invest more energy so you become free and help others do the same. But we said in order to do that, you have to have a growth mindset. And you all committed to a growth mindset, which means that yes, you're going to develop the right skill sets, but more importantly, we're going to work on your mindset and we're going to upgrade your environments. I'm going to teach you in a future lesson the 9 environments of you that are controlling your happiness, health, and wealth. And when you redesign your environments, you will redesign your life. The environments will do the work for you. You won't have to rely on willpower. You can literally redesign the environments to help you succeed faster. And then we talked about the stick man, this concept that you have a conscious and subconscious mind. You have thoughts, feelings, actions that are leading to your results. And if we reprogram the subconscious mind, you will easily move towards your goals. But there's also these ways to reprogram: spaced repetition, high emotional impact, and we have to recognize that there may be a point where you are ready to have a breakthrough. We're going to choose the breakthrough, not the breakdown. Okay, it might come a week into your business, it might come 3 weeks, it might come 3 months. It might be that you've made 6 figures before, but you've never made 7 figures, and you're going to hit your wall at that point. We're going to help you identify it, and you're going to break through. That is the moment of change. When you face these fears and you move anyways, when you rise up, when you begin to celebrate your success in life and in business. Okay, so if it's cool with you guys, what I'd like to do is to call time on this. We've dumped a lot of information in. I encourage you to go back and watch this, listen to it over and over again. I'd like to close out like we started with some music. All those in favor of having fun to close out our education, say aye. Good, all right, because I know you've been down for a little bit, but let's stand up. Everybody stand up. We're going to have some fun. We're going to choose another Pitbull song, and this one's called Celebrate. It's from the movie The Penguins of Madagascar. So let's have fun. Let's get our bodies moving, and let's celebrate the decision that you have just made and know that you are in the process of transforming your life. Every one of us has the ability to create the life that we desire. Thank you so much for this awesome opportunity. Hopefully we'll come back on, be able to answer any questions. Bobby, Charles, you can lead it when we get back. So I love you all and love being here. Bobby, Charles, what do you guys think? Typical Saturday?
Ooh, good way to start the day for sure. Awesome job, Jim. Awesome job.
Like to say, I ain't following that shit.
Amazing.
Just the beginning.
Thank you, our friend. I think all of you are getting a taste of what power looks like, what it looked like. We've been running around with our chickens with our heads cut off, building this company, and Jim's back to get our heads back on and get us focused in the right places in life and business. So thank you, Jim. Charles and I have a couple announcements real quick, but I know you got a beach to catch and family to go love. So thanks, man. Peace. Encourage.
You think that's worth $49 a month?
Yeah, you can all pay Jim $49 a month and have personal coaching.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, Charles, did you have any announcements you wanted to make real quick?
I just wanted to interject the contest you spoke about, Bobby, and how many people during that period of time, obviously there's a couple of winners, but we're all winners. There was almost 1,000, right at that number, of people who actually were competitive in that contest. 1,000 people. Imagine that. And the requirements were to actually get contracts. That's what it was motivated on. Yes, it was the team building side, but the contract was really the eligibility. So congratulations to 1,000 people. Where we were to where we are today is just staggering. And now with Jim coming in and taking things to another level, just a true blessing that we have. And then the last day of the contest, which was the last day of the month, we did more contracts than most companies do an entire year in one day. And I looked at the megawatts that were produced. We produced more megawatts of energy from that one day than 45 states have on their mission vision for 1 year of renewable energy. Let that register for a minute. Their 1 year goal, we exceeded that in one day. That's impact. And also it triggered quite a bit of income for people. But I wanted to just chime in on that, Bobby.
Yeah. Particularly with Bernasso, who's on the couch, I think.
Not anymore. I think he's in the other room. I'm sure he'll light up his camera if you want him.
He's in my room. So a couple things real quick, people. So you got a taste of what power really is about, we're all blessed, Charles and I have a chance to work with Jim all the time and have our games raised. There are some business things to think about. Number one, on Monday night, we're going to have a special event with Rachel. Do we have that flyer, Charles? Monday night. So all of you know, Rachel is the head of our sales department. She comes from, I found Rachel on LinkedIn again. I don't know if you all want to get on LinkedIn, but I found Rachel. I found Renasso. There's a lot of others, Eric Garcia. Rachel's going to do a special presentation with us. So reaching out to sales professionals, solar professionals. I mean, you don't want to miss Monday night. If you're building a team, and again, we teach how to do that every single week. You definitely want to have folks on for Rachel on Monday night. At the end of the month, if you want to make a note, we're going to bring Matt Britt on that following Monday night. Matt owned the solar company in Canada, has been in the solar industry, has been at the top of the direct sales industry, and Matt's going to be our special guest on 28th. And then on October 5th, first Monday of October, we're going to officially launch Arizona and New Jersey. So for those of you building in those markets, it's game on. For those of you who want to build in those markets, all you got to do is go on Facebook, LinkedIn, social media, and find them. Some of you already have a presence there. Jeffrey, it's game on. We're going to really officially launch the market. We'll do a recording, and we'll have a recording and asset for all of you moving forward. Any last questions or thoughts, you can throw them in the chat bar. We're just so happy that you got a chance to spend some time with Jim and, again, really understand what this company's about. Anything, last thoughts in there if you want to put something in there? Thank you. We thank all of you. Again, it's Saturday. And to Jim's point, I'm going out. You saw the change of clothes. I'm going out and hike. Jim challenged me to a push-up challenge, and I sent him a copy of an app. Charles knows this because I'm a lunatic. On the app that I use, I hike more than 99.4% of the people in the world. What that means is that's just the people on the app. So that means I hike more than 99.999% of the people in the world. I take more steps every day than 99.999% of the people in the world. That's not to impress you, just to press upon you. Charles knows this. It's just a part of the rhythm. It's my life. It's not whether I want to do it, when I don't want to do it. I just do it. And when I'm on that, like I'm going on that hike right now to talk to a solar professional. So you can be on the phone. You can do whatever you want. You can do it while you're hiking. You can do it while you're working out. Again, there's always stories and excuses and reasons, but the reality is that you can do it. And I was taught by people like Jim a long time ago. So any last things in there, Charles, other than happiness? And
lots of happiness. I do see that Mr. Bernasso is back on camera if you did want to have that.
Jonathan, then why don't you close it out, my friend? Why don't you just share from your heart? Where is he? Why don't you just share from your heart? I see Gigi's there, another monster in our company. Happy New Year. Jonathan, why don't you close it out, man? Take it home. It's your show. Why don't you share with everybody on here what this last week has been for you, for not only the Tesla, but and the income aside, but just life, how people are reaching out to you, what you're feeling, the love, what you've experienced being out in California the last couple of days with Jonathan and Jim and Charles and all that other stuff, buddy. Why don't you take us home? It's your show.
Wow, thank you. And look at William Contreras hanging out in San Diego at the mansion. Awesome. Hey, everybody. This training was great. I'm glad that you're all here. The last few days have been a whirlwind. The last 2 months, right, have been insane for a lot of people grinding on this contest. So the contest was excellent, revolving around selling and mentoring and attracting other people to join Power. And it's been great. I really preached to a few things from networking and BNI and social media, and always be showing up, go to the events, talk about solar all the time. Just do what you can, find your niche, and just make small progress goals for yourself. Talking to people about joining, talking to people about solar, talking to homeowners, dripping on them, building up your book of business, recognizing your spheres, and just keep grinding. As time goes on, I started with Power a year and a half ago. I was at a previous company where I thought making 150 grand was awesome. And let's just say last month was close to exceeding 6 figures there. So with the Tesla, which was just amazing. So what Power offers is unlike anything in the industry, really. The mentor program and selling nationwide, passive income and stock options, some of those things that Jim was talking about earlier. So I can't be more excited to be a part of this team and a part of this company. It's surreal to be at this moment with the team that we've built and win a freaking Tesla. Like, who the hell does that? It's insane. And leverage that. We're the coolest company, one of the fastest growing Inc. 1000 companies around the country, doing crazy things and giving away Teslas. So in conclusion, I always like to say, there's no better time to sell solar, guys. This is the opportune time. We have a tax credit that's going down next year, and who knows what it's going to do after that. We have utility rates rising dramatically, 14, 23% in the next couple of years in some states. We have environmental issues. California's on fire. People want to get off of fossil fuels. It's huge. And so we're at the pinnacle of it just getting started these next few years, really. We're having states legally require it, right? So we have this alignment of things in our favor and helping families save money, and there's COVID, and there's people needing business opportunities to earn income. So with all that said, there's no better frickin' time to be in solar, to be helping people with renewable energy, saving them money, helping the planet, and be part of a frickin' cool team. And hear Jim Bunch train where he charges $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 to do these trainings. So blessed to be a part of it all. I'm thankful for everyone on my team, everyone with power, and let's just keep grinding. Let's close out this year strong, this summer strong, and next year's going to be bananas. So thank you so much, Bobby and Charles, for everything, and thank you, everybody.
Boom.
Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations. There's a rumor you were sending me the Tesla. Really, I can't accept it. It's too much. You enjoy it. Hold on to it. It's all.
Oh, darn.
People, have an amazing day. Go work out. Go free your spirits. Go hug your kids. Go do something really super cool. Be like Jonathan Bernasso. Peace.
Artist. Peace.